Hello students, this is a continuation of sequences, and in SM1 regular class it's page 137 and in the honors class it's page 149. So first we want to look at the set of numbers, and that is the sequence. Then we are giving a rule for each of the sequences given, and we want to get it in sequence notation. So this one, where does it begin? Begins at 0. And what happens? It increases by 5 each time. That is the rule. Now the sequence notation, and this is what's kind of brand new to you, is knowing A1 is going to be term 1. So the term 1 is going to be 0. So it's the first term in the sequence. A2 is going to refer to A1, and it says what happens from A1? Well, it adds 5. So we add 5. And then the third term in the sequence, we take the second term here and we still add 5. So each one is putting what the previous one was and adding 5 each time. So when we think of some number n, which could be anything, it's going to be the previous one plus 5. And that could be anyone. If it was like a to the 1000, it would be the a to the 999 term plus 5. So that's the first one on the page, and next we will go to number 2. Okay, so this is the term number 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the sequence begins at 3. Now in your packet it says and 1 or something, but you need to change that and write at 3 because it begins at 3, and what does it do each time? It increases by 4 each time here. So A1 over here, our first term in this sequence, is going to be 3. Okay, so then A2 is, we look at A1 and we say, what is A1 plus 4? So A1 is 3, 3 plus 4 is 7. So we want to, again, compare it to the previous number to make sure that it is correct, okay? So we could write A1, or actually, I guess in the answer key, they just put 3. Okay, the next one, A3, you take the previous number 7, and we're going to add 4 to that. And then that will give us 11. Okay, and then A4 says we're going to take the previous one, again, which was A3, and we say that's 11. And what are we going to add to it? That's correct. We're going to add 4, and we get 15. So now, after we've done 4 in the sequence, we can figure out what a to the n is going to be. And a to the n could be anything. But it's going to be the previous one in the term, which is a to the n minus 1. See how each of these, this was actually a to the 3, 11 right there. That one was a to the 2, 7 right there. And that one was a to the 1, 3 right there. Okay, so it's a to the n minus 1. And how many do we add? 4. There's that there. Okay. Next, I'm going to scoot this back a little bit. Hopefully you could still see it okay. Okay, so number 3 is a graph. It's not a table and it's not a set of numbers. So we look at the graph and we say, where are these going at? Well, the rule says the sequence begins at 2 right here. And what happens from there? It's going up by 3 each time. Increases by 3 each time. So A1 is going to be 2. Okay, so not our x values, but our y values, because we know these are like your A numbers, like A1, A2, A3, A4. So that's like your x values. And your y values are going to be these right here. Because if I put in A1, I will get 2. If I put in A2, what do I get? I'm going to take the previous one, which is going to be 2, and I add 3 to it, so that's going to give me 5. Right there. Then A3 is going to be 5, and again, it's the previous number, plus 3, and that'll be 8. And then, what do you think we write here? A to the 4 equals, oh, what was the previous number? 8 plus 3, and they've got an ugly glare there, so know that that's a 3, and that's 11. Okay, so then A to the n, we got to figure out what that's going to be. And again, it's based off of the previous one, so that's going to be A to the n minus 1. Can you see that okay? And that should all be part of the sub. A to the n minus 1 plus 3. And I think the glare is barely off the page, so hopefully you can see that good. Okay, so don't let all these letters confuse you, because all it is term 1, term 2, term 3. So these are like x values, and these are like our y values. Okay, so think of it as A1 being the first terms. 2 is like these are, again, 1, 2, 3, 4 right here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 right here. Okay, we're going to go ahead and go on to the next one. Find the sequence given a sequence notation. So the next thing we want to do is to make sure that we know how to find the notation. So we're kind of working backwards. A1 is 5, A2 is A1 plus 7. So our first term in the sequence, it's like telling us, again, these are x values right here. A to the 1 is 5. That's where we start. Then A to the 2 is going to be our second one in here, is A1 plus 7. So it's based on the first term, plus 7, 12. A to the 3 is right here, so it's like putting 3 in there. 12 plus 7, 19. So then, after that, we add 7 more, and that will give us 26. ... So the sequence begins at 5 and adds 7 each time. Okay? All right, so we're going to jump to the next page, which will be page 138 for regular classes, and for honors, it's page 150. Okay? So here, it's A1 equals negative 200. A2 equals A1 divided by negative 2 equals negative 1/2 A. Here's a note that division is not used when writing sequences. We rewrite all division as multiplication, which will be fractions, okay? So our first number in the sequence, all we have to do is look at A1. That's going to be negative 200, okay? Then the next thing we have to do is multiply it by negative 1/2, and we know the next one will be 100. Okay, if we multiply that by negative 1/2, we go ahead and we put negative 50. Then the next one divided by negative 1/2, or times by negative 1/2, and you will get 25. So again, notice that this is negative, positive, negative, positive, and that's what happens when you multiply by a negative number each time. And then our numbers are divided in half each time. So the sequence does what? Begins at negative 200, and multiply, because we don't use division, multiply by negative 1/2 each time. Okay, I think you can finish the rest of the page, students. And we'll talk more about the formulas at the bottom later, but you can get this. You rock.